Welcome to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Dr. Mac Jackson Jr. Get ready for a thrilling ride, folks. Learning tips, techniques, and news on cybersecurity awareness, education, and training. To find out more about my company, you go to my website. That's at macjacksonjr.com. That's macjacksonjr.com, folks. Hey, folks, this week I want to talk to you about an incident that happened last Monday morning, Pacific Coast time. There was a cyber incident that happened with AWS. Now, a lot of you may not be sure what AWS is. AWS stands for Amazon's website services, and it is a third-party vendor that a lot of companies utilize, such as financial institutions, educational institutions, marketing, and others that take their databases and they put it up on Amazon and have Amazon manage them and maintain them. We've talked about that for years in our show. What happens if a third-party vendor goes out and you lose access, or if they get hacked? Who's responsible for this? Well, during this time of crisis last Monday, lots of companies were down. They did not have access to their websites or to their data, and it caused lots of problems. So this is just another example of why we all need to make sure that we have a backup plan. If there's something goes wrong with your data and your website, you do not have access to it, can you continue your business operations? Do you have a business continuity plan in place? To find out more about that and learn about these different types of programs, definitely make sure you contact my company or your consultant in your area and discuss business continuity and cybersecurity awareness, education, and training. It is something that we all need to do. We need to do more than just rely on a third-party company. So let's go over a couple of other third-party companies we should be concerned with as well. Let's talk about iCloud, right? You have your photos, your tax information, all your records sent up to iCloud. You have Dropbox. Your accounting system is done by QuickBooks or Quicken, having your records maintained. Or Oracle, another third party. Basically, folks, we're talking about you are using someone else's server, someone else's hard drive, and you're relying on them to maintain your data. If something goes wrong with that data, you are responsible for it. So again, it's important that we make sure that we have a plan B, plan C in place. Remember, backups. When we talk about backups, folks, we're talking about taking a copy of your data and saving it somewhere else, maybe at home, maybe at another location, just in case something goes wrong. But at the same time, you need to make sure that that backup of your data, you have proper restore processes put in place. A lot of companies don't do that. They don't have proper restore, right? So they'll make a backup copy and they'll assume that the backup works correctly. In a time of crisis, they'll go back to that backup and try to restore from it, but they've never tested that restore process. You need to have a backup and restore procedure set up for your organization and a fire drill where you can test it. This goes for individuals as well as small to large companies. Again, folks, have a backup and a recovery system set up for you. So that is my breaking news to share with you guys today that happened last Monday across our country dealing with AWS. Definitely stay tuned here. The investigations are still out. They're claiming that it was a systems failure that caused it, a human error. Well, we're going to see if that is true, and if there's anything else that we can report, we will definitely report anything else that happens with that particular situation. We're here on Cybersecurity Awareness TV, and I also wanted to do a public announcement survey, but I'd like to bring my partner in to talk about that. John Stiles, let's talk about what we mentioned here at our break. We'll be right back, folks, here at Cybersecurity Awareness TV. Thank you.
Hello, folks. This is Mac Jackson Jr. from Vanderson Cyber Group. The problem with businesses today is that they are affected by cyber attacks from around the world, but companies are not sure of what to do. Normally, they are reactive instead of proactive. But folks, cyber attacks can affect your bottom line, and it will affect you financially, legally. and your business reputation. Here at Vanderson Cyber Group, we can help you develop a policy by training your employees on what to do if they are involved in a cyber attack and how to mitigate it and fight against it. Folks, we call it here #StayCyberWoke. And that's Vanderson Cyber Group here in Las Vegas and around the world. You can reach me, folks, at VandersonCyberGroup.com or my website, MacJacksonJr.com as well. Here locally, 702-868-0808. Give us a call today, folks. We must fight back.
Okay. Three. When I say 3, 2, 1, then you'll pick it up. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Hey, John, welcome to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I want to take this few minutes to talk about something that happened last September, right? Was the Veterans...
September was Veterans. Give me a second. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Hey, John, I want to talk to you about September and our veterans. And I want to do a public service announcement on Cybersecurity Awareness TV for our veterans.
Well, Mac, September was Veterans Suicide Prevention Month. And here we are at the end of October. And I just want to remind everyone, coming up on November 11th is Veterans Day. And that's the day that we honor our serving military. So I just want to remind everybody, thank a serviceman, and just keep an eye out. And we all know somebody who has served, who is a veteran. Just if you see any signs, the Veterans Hotline is available. And one other thing that I have to point out that's pretty important as well is November 10th is the Marine Corps birthday. So don't forget that.
Very good, John. Well, thank you, John.
Thanks for letting me talk about that.
Absolutely. And thank you for your service. Definitely appreciate it.
And we'll be right back.
We'll be right back, folks.
Hi, my name is Edgar Alejandro. I'm the co-founder of Rising Again Productions. So we've been here in Vegas producing films for the past couple of years, and we've seen our fair share of studios. We've worked in our fair share of studios, and to be honest, WWDBTV has been our favorite by far. John is so welcoming. The space is wonderful. It's perfect for what we need. We've had rehearsals here. We've had callbacks here. We've had table reads here. So if you're a Vegas creative, or really just a creative coming into Vegas, definitely check out this space. Chat with John. I think you'll find that this studio has everything that you'll need as well.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Dr. Mac Jackson Jr. And joining me today is Julia Chrisman. She is a branding expert, and we're going to talk about brand strategies and a series of branding questions we have about businesses and how they can improve their presence online and ways they can protect themselves in the age of AI. Welcome, Julie. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Matt?
Hey, doing good, doing good. So tell the audience a little bit about you and your company and what you guys do.
So I'm a brand strategist. So my company is called Brand Help Now. It's on brandhelpnow.com. And I've been in the business for 25 years.
Wow.
So my background is brand marketing and PR.
Nice. Tell us about that. So when a company comes and contacts you about PR work for their business, what type of services do you offer?
So it's a really good question. And that's why I actually moved into brand strategy and not just PR
Okay.
and marketing, is because there's so many different levels in your brand management program that you need in order for you to have a profitable and productive business. And a lot of times people will come to me and they'll think what they need, for example, is PR. They have a new product or a new service. They really want to get it out there. So they really want to get a lot of press. Very often when they come and talk to me about that strategy, it's really a kind of cocktail of other different strategies that may work best for their particular program. So really it's working with a business or an individual to on their brand program for what's the most profitable version of their business. Because perception drives profit. And when you're working in brand marketing, that image, that reputation, the way that you show yourselves and communicate is very important to that bottom line profit.
Interesting. So it's more than just putting together colors and fonts on a website. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's actually developing the whole branding of the company, from the way they look, the colors, their presence.
And that's a really good point, Mac. I mean, I think a lot of people, they think, wow, and when they hear brand, they think about sitting down, figuring out the font and the colors. Yes, absolutely. We're doing that. But that's actually kind of more one piece of it. The whole rest of the program really talks more about your business strategies, the way that your employees are operating on your sales floor, the way that your brand looks and feels in the brand awareness vehicles that you've chosen.
Interesting. So would this also affect the culture of a company as well, the actual branding?
Oh, 100%. I mean, let's think of a company like Trader Joe's.
Yeah, good.
Trader Joe's is a company that so many consumers love, and it's because they have such a unique brand identity. They only have their own products.
Right.
Everyone who works there tends to have, they probably do hire that way, but also train them to have a very happy, friendly, outgoing disposition, talk to the customers, walk them to show them where things are. And it's very much that Hawaiian shirt sort of, we're happy here sort of vibe. So a company like that cultural piece, how the employees feel and how they act towards the customers is really integrated very nicely.
Interesting. So that's like the human factor in a sense, right? Within an organization, you're working with the human factor,
Right.
with the employees and making sure they're a part of the whole culture, how things.
Absolutely. I've worked for a lot of big companies. So I started out my career in Manhattan, where I worked for a lot of very big retail brands.
Okay.
One of the brands that I worked for was Ann Taylor, and they had about 248 stores across the nation. We were relaunching some programs for them. And what was very smart that Ann Taylor did they did this all along, they really understood their customer and they cared about their customer. And so this was a company that whenever we were talking about concepts in the corporate office, which was in Times Square, and you start to feel like you're very important when you work in corporate at a company like that, right?
Sure.
We all do. We're working in Times Square in these offices.
Absolutely.
And what we forget about, what you really need to remember, and a company like Ann Taylor did, was you have 248 retail stores across the nation and in Canada. All of those people on the retail floor, those are the people who talk to our customers. And those are the people who can provide the best insights to us in corporate as we're designing strategy, because they're going to know the most because they talk to our customers every single day.
Could you give an idea of how you put together that strategy with the employees? Is it through surveys? You talk to the employees themselves to see if what they're doing matches their business objectives?
That's a really good question. That's where technology, which you're so good at, kind of comes in.
Yes,
Yes, absolutely, we do surveys. I mean, we're talking like in the example of Ann Taylor again.
Sure.
248 stores, well, that's a lot of employees.
A lot.
And then a lot of back-end people working to fulfill those stores, operations and whatnot. So yes, certainly surveys, but a really, really good company is going to make sure that all of their executives on a regular basis go to at least one of the retail stores and talk to the people who work there. What's going on here? Anything new? And they might say some insights that may seem sort of silly, like that pink dress that you had in the ads was great, but we only had 2 sizes of each, and we sold out of it right away. Thanks a lot.
Right.
That kind of that's a wonderful feedback.
Yes.
If with your ad campaign, you're putting out there a product or an
Sure.
image and you don't have much to supply, you've really put some of your colleagues in a difficult position. Plus, you've frustrated your consumers. So that's the kind of feedback you can only get when you're making sure to talk to every single touch point within that company that you're working with.
And hence, now that I see the merger here with technology. So with all that said, how does AI fit into all of this as well?
I mean, I think that's the tricky question, Matt, that
Yeah.
everybody's talking about. We're talking about it from the terms of, can we allow AI to write our brand messages? Can
Yeah.
we allow them to write our ads?
Mhm.
How smart is it? Is it smarter than me? Am I smarter than it?
Sure.
It's a very confusing moment.
Right.
So not only are we trying to figure out which tools we use for which strategies,
Mhm.
but there's the protective measure as well, because it was different back when we were all using our cell phones and maybe emailing each other.
Right.
We weren't actually putting our data, our strategies, our ideas, our unique, sales positions
Uh-huh.
in a big machine.
Right. Right.
So how safe is that information? So I think this is a moment that everybody's trying to navigate and figure out, work with people like you to say, is everything that I'm doing safe?
Right.
And are my ideas safe? Can they be stolen this way? So I think that's a really
Let's talk about that a
curious
little bit.
moment for me.
Yeah, so we should talk a little bit. So let's say you have like Ann Klein you mentioned, right?
And Taylor,
And Taylor,
actually.
sure, and Taylor. And they have their strategies, right? And they were putting those strategies together. They don't want those strategies. That's proprietary IP, right?
Exactly.
Intellectual property. So how is that information protected?
Right.
Is it through AI or do they have their own database? And what if their competitors were to see that strategy, right? Then they'll know what their fall line, the next thing that's happening, what they're
Yes.
planning on doing. So they protect their data as well, right?
Right.
So in your experience, how can companies protect their branding?
Well, I have a question for you, Matt,
Sure.
actually, along with that
Mhm.
is, when we put in our strategy or data,
Right.
now let's say we're using chat or we're using Gemini,
Uh-huh.
and we put in some proprietary information.
Right.
Does that become part of the algorithm? I think a lot of people have been asking,
That's a
we've
great
been having these
question.
discussions,
Yeah.
and we want to know what things are part of the algorithm and what
Mhm.
things are safe that people can't then look up that we put in there.
That's a good question. Yes. So the information you put into the algorithm definitely gets processed and ingested, if you would, into the technology. So that information could be shared by other people that want to know that information. So if you put let's say a PowerPoint slide, a document you feed into the system, a PDF file, that could be IP. And culturally for that organization, it's now being shared with the algorithm. So future models are being designed to be more private. That data would come in, but never go out.
Right.
They're processed within the actual organization. So that's the future of where these AIs are looking.
So, Mac, let me ask you in practical terms.
Sure.
Let's say that my team and I put together, like you said, an image, an ad strategy.
Mhm.
Would somebody else be able to come in and say, I would like to know everything about X client's brand strategy, their new ad campaign? Could they pull it up if they had the right prompts?
That is absolutely the $100,000 question. And the answer to that is absolutely yes.
Oh my goodness.
You
And I
actually can do
I
that.
think that this is really the question that people
Mhm.
are having. And a lot of companies are building their own Gemini.
Sure, internal
Their
models.
own internal models.
Yeah, to protect their IP. Because you're going to have to do that. You're right. Because if that data gets access to the broader models, that information could be shared with other people. So you need to have your own. So you need to have your own internal IP. So there's Apple's talking about this, Microsoft as well, giving companies their own servers, if you would, right?
Right.
And their own servers, well, they're called agents, basically, your own agents. And your own agents will be able to go out to the internet, grab whatever stuff that's out there that maybe is not public, or that is public, it's not private, and manipulate it together to help you come up with your own branding strategy and save it within your system and not give it back to the global IPs.
Right. And that works really well for big companies, but for small businesses,
Yeah.
those kind of clients, I think we just have to be careful about which data we put in, because everyone's not going to have their own.
Well, true. To your point, what's going on now, since this is the frontier, if you would, of AI, everybody's throwing stuff out there. and it's getting bigger, bigger, and it's learning,
Right.
and it's becoming more educated. But you're right. There's IP data that's given to the actual brain, if you would, or the actual model, and it's learning about all this stuff. But theoretically, people don't want everybody to know their own business. I mean, Coke and Pepsi, right?
Right.
Coca-Cola doesn't want to send that idea about how to make the next big sugar-free drink, and then Pepsi could go online to what's Coke doing, and they'll have that information, their strategy.
Right.
So that would affect their brand, right? So they have to have ways to protect that.
I mean, it's fascinating to me that was, I mean, it must have been thought of before,
Yeah.
but why are those guardrails being put in afterwards?
Because technology is running so fast, every day it's trying to catch up to it. And a lot of branding companies and CEOs of other organizations are not catching up to the technology. They're seeing this AI as this instantaneous access to information, not knowing that AI has to learn, it has to develop. It isn't sentient, meaning it doesn't have a human consciousness yet.
And that will be a new frontier indeed.
Yes, absolutely. When that happens. But until then, it just goes and grabs stuff and learns and puts together data and gives it back.
Okay. And again, I mean, I appreciate this information, and I
Sure.
think that's where people like you and I need to be talking a lot.
Yes.
And I think traditionally on marketing teams, and PR teams, they're not always talking to the technology people.
Right.
So, the cool kids were talking to the nerds.
Right, exactly.
But right now, I think it's so critical to do so,
Yes.
to have this ongoing conversation, because so many tools are evolving. And like you said, it's a bit of a runaway train, and we do
Yeah.
have to protect our data
really do.
online.
Yes, we absolutely have to protect our data online. Like I mentioned in the first segment, AWS. When you think of your strategy and working with Gemini and Chat, you're working someone else's server. Somewhere else in the world, you're accessing that computer. If that computer fails and you need to have your branding strategy spreadsheet designed or a script put together, and it says 404 access denied,
You don't have any of your material.
you have any appeal, and you have a meeting to go to like in an hour. What do? These are the things that people take for granted,
Right.
right? It's like heading to work, getting a flat tire.
Right.
Who do you call? AAA to come fix you, right? So is there a AAA? They come fix your computer when it goes down?
Exactly. That's exactly what's going on right now.
Right. Right. And we just assume, it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's not going to happen. We'll be fine. Well, there's examples of it every day
Right.
leading to that. So, so those are some of the things that I'm glad that we're going to have these series. We're going to talk about technology and how it fits into branding. And we'll continue this conversation with Julie Crisman here at Cybersecurity Awareness TV after these messages.
Hi, folks. This is Mac Jackson Jr. from Cybersecurity Awareness TV here on the WWDBTV on the Roku network, streaming live. You can find us there, folks, as well. I want to tell you about how you could support us, how you can support our show. It takes a lot of research of what we do to find clips and interviews with legal experts and law enforcement experts on cybersecurity awareness techniques and prevention to protect you and your business from cyber attacks. And one of the best ways, folks, is to join us on our Patreon channel at patreon.com/Mac Jackson Jr. That's patreon.com/Mac Jackson Jr. Folks, hashtag stay cyberwoke.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Dr. Mac Jackson Jr., and I'm here with branding expert Julie Crisman. Hey, Julie.
Hey, Mac.
So as we continue this conversation, we're looking at security when it comes to branding of an organization, and I see where our industries are very similar in the sense of policies and procedures, how corporations should react in the midst of a cyber threat or in protecting their IP data if there's a product line or something that isn't working out correctly or there's an issue with it. How are we talking to the public about this information, right? How is information shared? And I think both of us in technology and in branding, corporations have a similar way of doing it. Just for example, there have been several cyber attacks, right? But when it initially happens, we don't call it a cyber attack. We call it an incident. I mean, something happened. We just investigating and researching it to decide what really happened. In other words, that public facing part of it's so important.
I think that's so important. And I didn't even know that, Mac. And
Mhm.
that's actually a strong PR tenet that you just said right there is
Mhm.
you don't call it a cyber attack.
Right.
You call it an incident. Why do you call it an incident? I'd imagine that the reasoning, and correct me if I'm wrong, the reason you call it incident is you don't know what happened.
Right.
And before you know what happened, the word cyber attack is scary.
Yeah. True.
Nobody likes that word,
True.
cyber attack.
Right.
Well, what does that mean? It sounds very scary. It sounds like it might even involve aliens. It's just, it's a bit much, right?
Okay.
So, and that's really the whole point. And I know I'm being silly here,
No,
but that's the
great.
whole point
That's
is
a good
when you're
point.
running a business,
Mhm.
and let's talk about this. I'm sure you heard about that, the incident that happened with Kering, which is the parent company of Gucci, Balenciaga, and McQueen.
Mhm.
Think about that. The impact, that sounds like kind of a big, lofty brand, but has a real impact on Vegas. Just in the stores that Kering owns alone, they probably own 10 stores
Right.
within just a couple mile radius here.
Right.
And that's a lot of high-end customers.
Yes.
That's a lot of customers' data, customers who, probably have a lot to protect
Mhm.
and who are probably very private. These are
Mhm.
very high-end luxury clients, and they expect to be living with discretion,
Mhm.
especially with luxury brands. And it would be very concerning
Sure.
in something like that if, like, you were, for example, a Gucci customer, you're a
Mhm.
big spender, to find out that your data was hacked into.
Yes, exactly.
And so when an incident like that gets determined, what is it that you tell people on, the rest of the corporate team has happened, and what can we share?
Sure. That's why in our industry in cybersecurity, we always like to promote fire drills. Fire drills, in other words, practicing. Let's practice on how would we address the media if there was an incident. So the C-level people and the employees, they will know down to the hierarchy, right? All the employees at the hierarchy level, they will know not to say anything to the media unless they have been given instructions to from their supervisor or manager.
Absolutely.
And those super and managers, they are trained as well to address the media in a certain way. And then as you go up the hierarchy, the C-level corporate people, they are trained in what to say and how to say it. That will keep the public-facing audience comfortable knowing what's going on, but also protect the company's brand.
Exactly. So it's the brand's reputation is what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
So that reputation is what is at risk right now.
Yes.
So that's what that data represents
Mhm.
is all of those clients and customers with their
Mhm.
proprietary information.
Mhm.
And that really is a reputational moment. And what you said is so important because we do, in the media, we only have certain people speak to the media,
Right.
but there's so much more than the media.
Yeah.
There's the clients.
There's a client.
There's the customers. They're calling.
Yes.
They're calling store. They're calling customer service. They're wanting to know things. At first, while you're still determining, what this incident is,
Sure.
you want to keep things quiet.
Yes.
So we really want to keep all the information on lockdown until we know how to respond.
Quiet, but still give the public enough information to keep their confidence in
That's
the
right.
brand, right?
Exactly. Give them enough so that they feel confident enough. And later, once more details have been determined and people are able to speak more, of course, only certain people will speak to the media. But let's not forget about the people, again, like I was saying, who are working on sales floors, who are working with customer service. They need to be trained in what to say.
Right.
They have direct client contact. And if they don't know what to say or what not to say,
Right.
very importantly,
Mhm.
and quickly, everyone needs to be trained at the same time.
Right.
It's very important.
Right. Again, that training is more than just reading a manual and taking a test.
Right.
We're talking actually hearing them
Right.
in front of the camera. They need to be go through the fire drills, as we said, to see what it's like, so they're comfortable with it. Because once they do it a few times, they're comfortable with it. Then management can talk to the public, can talk to the media with that level of confidence, and then the media understands them as well.
That's right.
Right. So that's very important for branding for organizations. There's another one I would like to ask you about too, but we'll get there after we get back from our next break here. We'll take, okay?
Okay.
All right. So again, folks, I want to thank you for being this part of this segment, and we'll be back with Julie Chrisman on marketing and branding globally.
The Showgirl Legacy Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to preserving the historic significance of the iconic showgirl as a performing artist. We achieve this through curriculum-based educational programs in partnership with the Las Vegas Academy of the Arts. The program includes a panel of entertainers and showgirls modeling authentic costumes for the visual arts students to paint. The students submit their artwork to the Showgirl Art Competition that becomes the annual Showgirl Art and Costume Exhibit. The foundation also represents guest speakers that give historical presentations about the Las Vegas stage show spectaculars and their personal experiences. The speaker brings authentic show costumes for photo ops and tailors their presentations for conferences, conventions, luncheons, museums, and other venues. Recently added to the Foundation's repertoire is the talk show The Showgirl Connection with your host, Luann. She interviews former and current showgirls, dancers, entertainers, and all the people behind the scenes that make the magic happen. The Showgirl Connection wouldn't be possible without the partnership and support of WWDBTV and owner John Stiles. Learn more about us at showgirllegacy.org and castandcrewreunion.com. For questions, email us at info@showgirllegacy.org.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Dr. Matt Jackson Jr., and I'm here today to continue our conversation with Julie Krisman, branding expert. Julie, wow, let's talk about this here in our city here in Las Vegas. There's rumors that the tourism is going down here in Vegas.
I mean, it's not just rumors, Mac. I've noticed, my mom had come recently and she asked me to pick her up on the Strip, and I thought, what a headache. It wasn't a headache at all because there was no traffic. It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're seeing that everywhere, that
Yeah.
there's a lot fewer visitors. The economy isn't the same.
Yes, it's all over the country. The economy is being affected. Political reasons can affect that as well. But here in Vegas specifically, there are things like tourists that would come here and spend $100 to $200 because they're coming from the Midwest or they're coming from Canada.
Right.
Now they're like, that money goes away. You could sit in front of a slot machine with $100 and play for an hour and a half a few years back.
Right.
Nowadays, you just put your money in, about the time you wink, it's gone.
That's right. And I think that, and it's interesting because I think Las Vegas as a city, the reason it's so popular is it was kind of like an every man or every woman's paradise of fun.
Yes.
It really didn't matter how much money you had. There were hotels that catered to all levels. It used to be if you had a few bucks to gamble, there were free drinks that came along with it. And I feel like a lot of those fun, perks that came along with that typical Las Vegas visit have changed dramatically.
Yes. What is your opinion on the branding of that type of branding? Is there any strategy or advice that you may be able to give or foresee on that? I
mean, it's all going to come down to dollars and cents, isn't it, Mac?
Yeah.
I think the visitors that are visiting right now are those high-end luxury visitors with an enormous amount of money to spend for the most high-end rooms. And I think the customer that's really missing is that customer that, they maybe plan one vacation a year to get a little fun, or a bachelor party, they save up for it. I think that's really what's dwindling, is the more just go to Vegas for the weekend and have fun.
Right.
Because, there's something for everyone.
Yeah, the shows, the comps we used to have back in the day, that's almost gone.
That's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you were born and raised here, Max, so you've seen the city a lot. I'm new here. I came from New York City 5 years ago, and I've noticed a big change here since I've been here. And I think that Las Vegas is going to have to think about their brand image right now.
Right.
Is it still a city that everyone there's a place and a time for everyone to have fun, and it's something that's affordable to people at all levels? Or are we going to become a place where only the tip-top earners and spenders?
What is your opinion as far as branding and strategy? Would that be a good branding, considering that you've already had something that worked well for almost 100 years, And now that they're changing it slowly by catering towards high rollers, not strollers. That used to be a saying to say, they say here. And to the high end people, is that a good branding thing, or what do you think?
I mean, from a brand imaging perspective, it makes Vegas, for better or for worse.
Sure.
There was a bit of cheesiness about it that everybody loved. That kind of tchotchke sort of, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, that wink, wink, that everybody's in on it sort of thing.
Sure.
And people love that. But what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and the wink, wink, and the everybody's kind of in on it doesn't work anymore if there's only a few people that are in on it.
Yes.
And they're private anyway because they can afford to be.
Yes.
So there does need to be a discussion with, via the Chamber of Commerce or a lot of different businesses in the area, and say, who are we anymore?
Right.
Who is our current customer? How are we going to work together? It's a very unique issue to have right now. And I think it's something that needs to be really explored at this time. I mean, it used to be drinking, women, gambling, but actually Las Vegas has changed its image to be a bit more about, outdoors, hiking, some of these other things too.
True. Not
your traditional.
True.
At all. People still, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's a party capital.
True.
Let's be clear.
True.
But there has been a lot of change, and I'd be curious to see how some of those conversations are had.
Yeah, and the gambling one too. I'm working on a story about gambling here in Vegas, and how it's has some connections back from 40, 50 years ago, coming back, that we thought were not here anymore, that coming back to Vegas. And that's been really interesting to see how that's going to affect the whole. Because we never had gambling for sports teams in Vegas. That was illegal.
Right.
And there was a reason why it was illegal. And now we're seeing some examples of that as affecting our sports team. So it's kind of interesting to see that. Again, part of whole branding. Another one I could share with you, there's a couple players, not a couple players, there's actually lots of players that come to Vegas, and they will lose millions of dollars gambling. But they're also investors. So if they lose that money and the stock goes down, they also own stocks. So sort of they actually make money on the flip side of it. It's a really interesting phenomenon how that happens. So now you got the casinos looking at that thinking, wow, they just lost 27 million. How many mom and pops or people partying in Vegas will make $27 million?
Very good point. And I think that these are conversations are happening all over the U.S. right now. It's really a culture crisis. It's a really big conversation.
Yes.
And it's, you're right. It's about brand imaging.
Yeah, the whole brand
for
imaging.
A city.
Yeah.
Or a population of people. Yeah.
And it's good that we're talking about it. Hopefully other people will talk about it too. The tourists talk about it. I have a pet peeve with the parking. I have to bring that one up. Growing up here, being a native here, we've never had to pay for parking at a casino. That's just taboo.
Unacceptable.
And then for a while they had it where you would use your license as the QR code.
Yeah.
And it was, you're native, and it would be for free. And they stopped that.
Well, now it's 3 hours.
Yeah, now it's 3 hours.
Right.
Well, as soon as you park and get your drink and eating at a restaurant, that 3 hours go by.
That's right.
But yeah, it used to never be that way. So hopefully they'll bring back some of those traditions. And
I hope so. I hope Las Vegas hires me to help them do that. I would love to get you some free parking, Mac.
Oh, matter of fact, I did have a card at Caesars for free parking. Well, thank you, Julie. I really appreciate it. I look forward to talking with you again more about these branding stories and questions, and how we can talk about the camaraderie between your branding strategies and cybersecurity, and how we can work on together and help businesses out there formulate an understanding of the differences and also the similarities.
Absolutely. I would love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Matt.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I look forward again.
Okay.
Folks, thanks again. I want to thank Julie Krisman again, branding strategist, for joining us. And we look forward to our next meeting with her and other information we have. Folks like to find out more about my company, Vanderson Cyber Group, go to my website at vandersoncybergroup.com. That's vandersoncybergroup.com. And one more time, Julie, what's the name of your website?
My website is brandhelpnow.com. You can book an appointment with me right online.
All right, brandhelpnow.com. Very good, folks. Thank you very much for joining us here at Cybersecurity Awareness TV, and we will see you next week.